All right, good day, everybody. Wherever you are, I'm so happy and I'm so excited to be bringing this to you. It's a very, very big package from CMRC, Creative Minds Royal Concept. And I'm most privileged to be the innovator, the initiator of this program. It is a very, very big success to bring this to you. Free Success Project 2025. And this year, I am so happy. We have amazing facilitators, persons who are selfless, who are passionate, who are explicit in every ramification of their discipline, and they will blow your mind. So I want you to keep your tabs and start watching these videos and get excellent results and come back to tell us, and we rejoice with you. God bless you.
Welcome back, everyone. Trust we are good. I remain Oladipupo Jeremiah Alaba. Remember, in the last video, we said we are going to continue from political concepts and political ideology. These are just necessary concepts needed for us to know, as definitely questions will be coming out from them. Now, we are going to be starting from socialism. So basically, what is socialism? Socialism is a system of government whereby the means of production and distribution of goods and services are controlled by government. That is, the production, that is everything that has to do with the production and distribution of goods, are being controlled by the state, also known as the government. That is what is necessary for us to know in this particular concept. And basically, one of the advantages of socialism is just that it actually helps to know the needs of the people. That is, it helps goods produced to be of effect. That is, the goods produced will actually be one that will be of the people's needs. And also, at the same time, it will also allow that the price of goods are being controlled, not unnecessary inflation of price by individuals. This cannot be possible in a socialist state because the government controls the means of production and distribution of goods. Now, to the second one, which is capitalism. Capitalism over here. Now, what is capitalism? This is just a system of government whereby means of production and distribution of goods and services are controlled by capitalists. That is, these are the private individual. And in this particular one, it's very important for us to take note of two important concepts. And these are the bourgeois and the proletariat. The bourgeois are also known as the rich, while the proletariat are also known as the poor. So these are important concepts. And one of the advantages of this capitalist is that there is a free market good. That is, everybody is free to buy what they want since there are different producers producing in the market. Now, to the next concept, we are going to be looking at fascism. Now, this fascism is a system of government practiced basically in Italy by Benito Mussolini. It is a system of government whereby a dictator rules over a particular state. That is, it's more or less like a totalitarian system of government, or you can also refer it to as an authoritarian government, whereby there's a dictator that is controlling the society. That is, it also controls the means and lives of the citizen. The next one is Nazism, which is a system of government that was practiced in Germany by Adolf Hitler. Now, when it talks about this system of government, it's also more or less the same thing as Nazism. It's just a system of government whereby also a dictator rules and controls the lives of the citizen. Now, totalitarianism is just a system of government also whereby a dictator rules over a country and also controls all aspects of the citizen's life. That is, the citizen does not have free choice. They cannot decide what they want or what they do not want because they are being controlled by a sovereign leader who controls the means of production and every literal thing, even including the aspect of the citizen. That is, the dictator can actually wake up a day and decide, I want to kill them, and nothing will happen because he is the one controlling them. Now, to the next one, we are going to be talking about communism. Communism is more or less like a classless society. That is, it does not recognize the rich, nor does it recognize the poor. Now, we can actually say that this particular concept, actually, no state has actually been able to achieve this stage of communism, but we can still say that Russia has been very close, or the Soviet Union, which was dissolved in 1994, that is the USSR, that is the United Soviet Socialist Republic, that was dissolved in 1994. Now, they have been very close, but still no state have been able to actually achieve the level of communism. Now, the next concept we are discussing now is monarchy. When we talk about monarchy, it's just a system of government ruled over by a king, queen, or an emperor. That is, the society is being ruled by a king, queen, and emperor. Note, it's not just a king only. It can be a queen or an emperor. Now, to the next concept, which is anarchy. When we talk about anarchy, it's just a system, it's just a situation whereby there's no one, that is, there's no government controlling the society. Everywhere, there's no leader, none at all. This is what we just talk about, anarchy. That is, whereby there's already a breakdown of rules and all that, and no one is empowered to actually control the people. That is what it refers to as anarchy. Now, to the next concept that is very important for us to take note of is concept of state and a nation. There has actually been a long ranging question that is Nigeria a state or is Nigeria a nation? To me, Nigeria is actually a nation state. That is, we are actually set of people that are comprised of a nation that makes up a state. No, what is a nation? A nation are just group of people that share the same belief, idea, cultural ideology, and perhaps same language. For example, you can refer to Yoruba as a nation. That is, Yoruba is a nation on its own because they share the same belief, culture. Igbo is a nation on its own. The Hausa is the nation on its own. You can also refer to the Ijo, the Iwobo. Yeah, you can refer to them as a nation because they are a set of people that are more or less like they are homogeneous, and the set of people, and they actually have the same culture, same belief, same ideology, mode of dressing is the same. These are a set of people that you can refer to as a nation. Now, when we talk about a state, note in government, any country in a country is not referred to as a country in international relation. A country is referred to as a state. So if Nigeria gets aside, you cannot refer to Nigeria as a country, you refer to Nigeria as a state. That's why we always know that, oh, in international relation, Nigeria is a state, not a country. Note the difference. Now, when we talk about the next one we're talking about is, let's talk on oligarchy. Now, when we talk about oligarchy, oligarchy is just a system of government ruled by the few. That is, it's just some particular set of people that come together to take over the affairs of the community. Now, there are different types of oligarchy. Now, let's start from theocracy. Now, when we talk about theocracy, theocracy is just a system of government whereby religious leaders rules. Note, religious leader, it doesn't have to be pastor or imam. Like, it can also be a traditionalist, but they are set of people whereby religious leaders are the ones that are ruling. That is what we refer to as theocracy. And now, when we talk about plutocracy, plutocracy is just a system of government or a particular system whereby the rich controls the society. That is, this actually the society, that is actually the rich that controls the society. Take note, the rich control the society in a plutocracy system of government. Now, also, I think we should also go and also discuss what we also known as kakistocracy. More or less like just a system of government ruled by a military, that is soldiers, as we all know. That's just literally what kakistocracy means. And also there are also different systems. These are just set of people that just some sects of people, that is, they are very small set of people, just rule over. It can either be a religious leader, the rich, or even the influential. And for the influential, you can see that one in an aristocrat. That's why they refer to as aristocrats. That is, they're just a set of people ruled by maybe the wealthy or some particular set of people that have some exceptional qualities. That is why they are allowed to. Now, to the next concept. Now, it's very, very important for us to take note of what is presidential system of government and what is parliamentary system of government. Generally, when it talks about parliamentary system of government, it's just a system of government whereby the president is different from, that is, the head of state is different from the head of government. Now, in a parliamentary system of government, the head of state is different, note, from the head of government. That's why there's always the prime minister and there's always the president. An example of Nigerian case is, can refer to Nigeria when the 1963 Constitution of Nigeria, we practice this parliamentary system of government whereby we have Tafawa Balewa as the prime minister and we're having Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe as the president. And when we talk about the president, that's like the president just controls ceremonial power, while the prime minister controls the executive power. That is what is necessary for us to note in a parliamentary system of government. Now we talk about presidential system of government. It's a system of government whereby the head of state is not different from the head of government. That is, these two powers are fused into one person, and that's only one person that controls both the head of state and head of government. That is, the executive function and the ceremonial function are controlled by one person. Note, that is, there is no separation of power. There is no separation between them. The head of government is the same one as the head of state. Now, what are the features that you can actually see in a presidential system of government? You will see a concept like there will be a rule of law, separation of power amongst, because definitely you know that when we talk about parliamentary system of government, that simply means that the legislature and the executive are fused together. That is because note, it is in a parliamentary system of government, the prime minister is always appointed from the cabinet or the parliament. Note, that is very, very important for us to take note of. Now, to the next concept we are going to be discussing are just rule of law, check and balance, and separation of power. When we talk about rule of law, it is very important for us to know that rule of law is a theory propounded by Evidaisi. Take note of that one. It's very, very important. The names are very important. It's a concept propounded by, and this concept literally is just trying to tell us that no one should be above the law. Either you are the one that makes the law or not. Everybody should be equal before the law. But I know in my church, in Nigeria system, is anybody above the law? I leave you to answer that question. Are people above the law? Let's wait and see. Okay, now let's continue of what's just about rule of law. It's just a system, like it's just a concept that just literally tell us that there should be that is, everybody should be equal before the law, whether you are the ruler or the ruled. Everybody should be equal before the law, even though it actually admits that there might be some form of immunity for some particular set of people that are in power. For example, you cannot prosecute a president when he's still in power, but immediately left power, you can actually prosecute him. That's what the concept is about. Now let's talk about the separation of power. Now we talk about separation of power is a theory propounded by Baron de Montesquieu. Now, what is this separation of power? We have the judiciary, we have the executive, and we have the legislature. Now, this separation of power is just trying to tell us that power should be separated among these three arms of government to ensure that no one abuses this power. That is, the executive should have their power, the legislature should have their power, and the judiciary should have their power. And they can actually have an oversight function on each other. That is, they can check on each other to avoid excesses. Now, to the next one, we're already discussing check and balances. That is the reason there cannot be check and balance if there's no separation of power. Because separation of power is actually the one that will give us a leverage for check and balance. Because if powers are not being separated, then there's no one to check on each other. Check and balance is just like an appropriation. That is to make sure that people are being checked on. That is, people that are in power are being checked on, and to avoid abuse of that particular power vested on them. Now, to the next concept we are going to be looking into is the concept of sovereignty and legitimacy. Now, what is sovereignty? What do you mean by someone is sovereign? Literally, in government, when it talks about sovereignty, sovereignty always revolves around a country being independent on its own. That is, they have the power to do anything they want without any external influence. That is, Nigeria as a country is a sovereign state, and then Ghana cannot come to Nigeria and dictate to us what we should do. Because this is what this concept of sovereignty, but this, you have the power to control your state without anybody coming to you. That is, no one has the power to come and say, this is exactly what you must do. No, because if you are a sovereign state, you have this. Because we can actually say Nigerian sovereignty, particularly actually started in 1960, but we can actually say it is very, very effective in 1963, where we have our first republic. Now, when we talk about this particular concept of sovereignty, it's just literally for us to know that countries are independent. That is, they are free to carry out their power. That is, USA does not have the power to come to Nigeria and say, this is what you should do, this is what you should not do. No. That is what we actually known as you being sovereign. And also, we actually have legal sovereignty and political sovereignty. Literally, when you see any question that said that, political sovereignty rests in what? Yeah, like political sovereignty rests in the people, because they're actually the one that voted the person, that is people in power. They're the one that voted them to power. But legal sovereignty are vested in those people that you actually voted into power. Note the difference. That is, there's legal sovereignty and there's political sovereignty. But the question has always been revolving around political sovereignty. And note, political sovereignty is vested on the people. Now, to the last concept we would like us to talk about is an electoral system. Now, what do we mean by an electoral system? What is the importance of electoral system? What effect does an electoral system have in place, or what work does it have to do? Now, what is electoral system supposed to do for us? Now, electoral system is essentially for us to know that, oh, the laid down rules of how an election is supposed to go, the practice of how what they are supposed to do in an election, or what party system are they practicing. Now, you know that we know there's different political system. Now we see different electoral system. Now, you know, we have a party system that is, it's just a system whereby only one party exists. That is, there's no other party. And we also have a two-party system whereby there's two recognized party. And for example, you can use the USA as an example, and also you can use the UK as an example of a state that practicing two parties. That is, for the USA, you know, we have the Republican and you have the Democrats. That's an example of a two-party state. And also, you can also look into like the next concept, like the multi-party. That is, these are just set of this is a political system whereby there are many political parties recognized by the constitution. An example is Nigeria. Nigeria is practicing a multi-party system whereby that is, we can actually have unlimited numbers of political systems. Now, note that the reason for a electoral system is to make sure that there is effective election. Actually, if you want to reverse back into this the type of party system we've actually practiced in the past, we can actually, let me just quickly highlight this for us, that in 1951 AG was established, MPN was also established, and it allows them to roll on. So now note that this policy, and also you can actually also try to look into the 1979 election, that is the one that brought in Shagari to power. We can say basically then that Nigeria actually has 5 political parties contested in that political election that particular year. Though in 1983 then we actually have 6 that contested, and I think we have the UPN, MPN, GMPP, UPR, and I can't remember the last one, but those are just very important notes for us to take note of. That this Nigeria has actually practiced this party system effectively in the past. So note, I would like us to know that this important concept that we've actually discussed is a very important concept that position will definitely revolve around them, because this is the bedrock of government. That is what exactly we need to know. And also, I will also leave you with this. I tell you, there's a trust in God. There's a kind of trust that you will have, or there's a kind of confidence that you will have in someone. That if you trust someone, there's a level of belief that you have in that person because of the fact that you trust him. I can literally tell you here that there are times that you might feel tired. There are times that you feel like, oh, what exactly am I going to do? There are times that you might feel like, am I even going to make it? Yeah, it is normal. You can actually have that particular thought, but I can tell you vividly with a very great confidence that if you have a trust in God is a very, very important thing that is needed for us to take note. Because when you have a trust in God, there's a kind of leverage, there's a kind of confidence that you will have in yourself. That even though if you are thinking that, oh, I've been reading this thing from the past kingdom, I don't even know what will come out of it. Oh, I've been processing my admission for a very, very long time. Oh, this is my first year, this is my second year, this is my third year practicing. But I tell you that there's a kind of trust that you will have in God, that your confidence arises, and He will definitely, because they said, see, call unto Him and He will draw to you. See, there is a kind, anything that you just need, meet your father. But will you be afraid of your father? No, because He is your father. I tell you, go and meet Him, tell Him what you need, and He will come for you, because He is your son. Or will a father despise his son? No. So thank you very much. I leave you with this word. Take note. I wish you success in your exam. Thank you.
Be sure to link up with us, message us, seek out our email, send us messages for further questions and mentorship after you have seen these videos. I'm very happy to say this again, that it's a time for you to move on and succeed. It's a free success project 2025. Bless you everywhere that you are. Again, my name is Emmanuel Aderoju Adeyemo from Creative Minds Concept.
Bro, if there was time bound, she would have done everything in the time. The fact that I'm yet to this time, I don't like it too.
There are some things you can't see. If it, I would explain to you later. It's alright. Who is coming up next? Thank you so much, bro. God. Oh my God. I really appreciate that. Thank you so very much.
Sorry.